I spoke about, Chair, I mentioned some journalists. These are not the only ones. I'll have an opportunity to talk to about some of them. I'll check if whether some of those faces are in this room. Those journalists involved are known from the recordings of conversations secured following approval by a designated judge in compliance with South Africa's regulation of interception of communication and provision of communication-related Act of 2002. In other words, following the investigation that was conducted by General Mabula, because of the threats directed at me and everything, an application was made to the designated judge to monitor specific conversations that or specific numbers that were of interest. And this is where, unfortunately, where some of these journalists were flying in and out. Graham Hoskins is one of them, I know. During the afternoon of Monday, 14 May 2016, I received a telephone call from Mr. 62, I'm on page 62, Mr. Frank Tereblanche, the building contractor, who informed me that he was approached by people who told him that they were conducting an investigation on the building of my house in Sable Hills. He indicated that 4 people, a white male, a white female, and 2 African males had approached him at the crèche in Sinoville where his wife was rendering services. The leader of the 4 identified himself as Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, who led the interview and questions in relation to the construction of my house. He told me that he became uncomfortable after realizing that it was a private person called Paul O'Sullivan who claimed to be conducting an investigation. I'm getting feedback. Is something wrong with my... Yeah.
Is there feedback? Can we check if all the microphones are off?
Always been here. Okay, maybe.
We don't suspect that there could be anybody interfering with your presentation. We don't have those suspicions.
Thank you, Chief. May I proceed? The leader of the 4, as a result, he called me to inform me and inquire whether it will be correct for him to disclose any information to private persons purporting to be conducting investigations. I cautioned him against providing any information relating to the building of my house to anyone who is not duly authorized by law to conduct investigations and receive my information without the required authority. I also received a telephone call from my driver, Captain Alvin Dupree, informing me that he had received a call from Frick with the same concerns directed at me. Mr. Tereblanche called me again on Wednesday, 16 November 2016 during the morning, informing me that the same people were back at his place in Sinoville and that he had chased them away. Later that afternoon at 17:23, he forwarded a text message which he received from O'Sullivan's assistant, Sarah Jane Trent, via SMS, and that read as follows: Dear Sir, IPID investigation. By the way, Sergeant Trent works for O'Sullivan, is his assistant, but he's sending this message. I confirm that the case numbers CCN 20160 30085 30085. A meeting is arranged for 11 o'clock on Friday at IPID offices, City Forum Building 114 Madiba Street, Pretoria, nearest corner Schubert Street. We have confirmed that your status is not a suspect. You are, of course, welcome to bring an attorney with you, if you like. We look forward to seeing you then. Regards, Sarah Jane. This is clear violation of the IPID Act, as a private individual cannot be involved in the investigation. This also ravishes the statement by Paul O'Sullivan denying any involvement by him or Sergeant Trent in IPID investigations. It was after the telephone call from Frick Tereblanche on the morning of Wednesday, 16 November 2016, that I called Mr. Chris Yoste, the estate manager at Sable Hills, to establish whether any person could be allowed access to my house without my permission or making contact with me. This inquiry to Mr. Yoste was informed by my conversation with Mr. Tereblanche, who indicated that Paul O'Sullivan and his entourage were at the estate and had obtained his contact details from the security manager, Freaky. Mr. Yoste responded later at 13:24 on 16 November to my inquiry via text message, which read as follows. General, 4 people arrived at the service gate from IPID. He wrote in his IDP, that's why in brackets there I've got IPID, as per business card, and said they were doing an investigation and that it was confidential. They inquired about the builder of your house. It was mentioned that it was Freck, and Frecky gave them Freck's number. That's how they got to the builder of my house. We were told that they wanted to see the drawings of your house, which were shown to them. After this, they phoned Freck and then left to meet with him. This text message was forwarded with a copy of a business card of Mandla Gaiza Mahlangu. May his soul rest in peace. He's late. He was one of those IPID Phahlane task team investigators. From IPID, as well as a picture of a white sedan, a Ford Kuga, with registration numbers, there they are, owned by Paul O'Sullivan, which include which vehicle the 4 people were driving in. I was in Limpopo attending a strategic session with members of the National Management Forum since Tuesday, 15 November at the time, 26 at the time. I had shared these developments and information with the then Divisional Commissioner of Detectives, Lieutenant General Kotsi Nkomo, and the former Acting Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, Major General Machele, for further processing within the scope of their work. On 16 November 2016, at 17:35, I forwarded a copy of Mahlangu's business card and a picture of the Ford sedan motor vehicle as received from Yoste to McBride's cell phone with a message that reads, "Good afternoon, sir. Trusting that you are well, it is noted with concern that the IPID investigators are accompanied by the person who lodged the complaint to gather and interview witnesses. Once again, a Mr. Paul was trying to get to the builder of my house." And then in the message I asked, "Ethical investigation is encouraged in this regard." He never responded to that message. That was McBride. While at the strategic session, a colleague of mine, Lieutenant General Ngwenya, conveyed the message that the former Major General Sibiya, who used to be working for the DPCI, the now Deputy National Commissioner, requested to meet with me and Mr. Robert McBride privately upon my return to Pretoria. I was persuaded, and the meeting took place in Centurion at Liriba Lodge on Friday, 18 November 2016, upon my return from the strategic session. It was during this meeting that I once again urged McBride to ensure that a thorough investigation must be conducted on allegations against me. I further cautioned him about the involvement of Paul O'Sullivan in the investigation. I made it clear during this meeting that I did not need any favors relating to the allegations made by Paul O'Sullivan. On Tuesday, 22 November 2016, in the afternoon, I received a call from Mr. Cedric Nkabinde, an investigator from IPID, who informed me that he was investigating a defeating the ends of justice case against me. The case number is there, Camille Drift, subs case 123 of 11/2016. The purpose of his call was to secure an appointment with me for a warning statement. I referred him to my office and informed my secretary that I had agreed to meet with him on Thursday, 23 November 2016 at about 1400 at IPID offices. This appointment was rescheduled to a later date because of more important matters which required my attendance. Thus, the meeting did not take place. On Thursday, 23 November 2016, in the morning, I actually was leaving the gym that morning. Peter Louis Mayberg sent me a text message which read, "Hi, General. This is Peter Louis Mayberg from News 24. I was hoping to get your comment on the IPID matter. I understand you have been asked to make a warning statement. Thanks." Around 9, the story was breaking news on News 24 and the national media. Despite the rescheduled meeting, because I was not going to be able to attend that afternoon meeting of the 23rd, which was already scheduled, because they were already gathered at the IPID offices, the media. The media covered a story headlined, "Phahlane no-show at IPID." I should also mention that without obtaining my warning statement, the case docket was processed to the National Prosecuting Authority for a decision premised on the lack of evidence. The NPA declined to prosecute. Another case, Sinoville case 146 of 5/2017. Now, this is important because this case, you will know that it was opened in May 2017. That is precisely after my appearance in Parliament to that meeting where this presentation was made by Robert McBride and IPID. Now, why is this of significance? Somewhere we are being accused of counter-investigation. There was never a case before the case which now appears somewhere, Camille Drift case 12 of 1/2016 or 2017, the one that General Mabula and them was investigating. So even when you go back to page 150, that paragraph, page 66, paragraph 150, what defeating the ends of justice was being investigated, because there was no case. O'Sullivan had deposed a newspaper to IPID. I'm on 167, just above 152. Both Robert McBride and Paul O'Sullivan continued to peddle lies and disinformation that the vehicles were purchased for my benefit and usage by family from a supplier of service to the subs, Mr. Duran Snyman and his dealership, who has never rendered any services to the police. So amongst others, I was accused to have 7 cars. Now, what they were doing, they went to obtain the records from the institutions who financed my vehicles. If I buy, I will, for example, have had a C-Class Mercedes-Benz, and then I go and sell it and buy an E-Class. To them, on their list, I've got 2 cars, a C-Class and an E-Class. I had the Land Rover Discovery 3, I buy a Discovery 4, I've got 2 cars. I sell Navara Baki, I buy an Amarok, I've got 6 cars. Now, the car that they were mainly looking for, today, maybe when they appear here, they will produce it. It's a BMW i8. That is the car that was used, that I used that weekend when I was attacked in Duncanveld. It is a car that belonged to BMW South Africa. BMW South Africa, because the police buy vehicles and so on, from time to time, they bring cars to test drive so that they are being given feedback. So first, I was called by supply chain management. They wanted me to test drive an i3, one of those electronic BMWs, and I just did not have time. So it went back without me seeing it. Then they called and said, now there is an i8. I said, I'm busy.
I think you have given them enough advert. You can just say they called and promised a new vehicle. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Reality. But anyway, the car came. I drove it.
Honorable Ngola.
No, Chair, I was not interrupting. I wanted the general to conclude. I wanted to do a follow-up on this system of sponsoring from VW. Is there an internal mechanism for declaration of such sponsors so that no one is easily accused of having been given handouts somewhere or nicotimusly? Is there an internal system? Here in Parliament, we even declare a power bank that so-and-so gave me a power bank for this reason. So do you have those, or did they have at that particular time, those internal mechanisms for declarations of such sponsors? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. While this particular car was not a sponsor, it was what they do. They will bring occasionally a vehicle, and it's not only this particular brand that I'm talking of, for test driving and so on. And those vehicles are returned. So, for example, I only drove that car. I think it was the Saturday and the Sunday. The Monday, when I went back to work, my driver took the car to them. So while it is so that there is a mechanism for declaring even sponsorship and gifts, this one will not have fallen into that category. And the other cars that I'm referring to, your Amarok, VW, and so, those are my personal cars that were bought. But to create this narrative of corruption and so on, they will say he has got 6 cars. And of course, if I'm to have 6 cars at the go, such high-end vehicles, you need to ask, where did the money come from to buy those? Unfortunately, in this case, if you go, they retrieve even the finances from the bank. You know, what is it? And we are entitled to a vehicle finance scheme. They retrieve the statements. One of the vehicles, at least 2 or 3 of them, actually, the payment of those vehicles was being deducted on a monthly basis from my salary because I had what we call stop order. So the bank will pay the dealership directly.
Honorable Malam.
No, General, you're talking about trading in. You trade in this car, and then you use that money of trade in to buy another one. So they will now say you've got 2 cars. Instead of saying you've traded in the other one, use that money to buy another one. Is that my understanding correct?
Your understanding is correct, Honorable Member. So on the even if they see that this car was sold or traded in, and I buy this one, on their records they say he has got two, for example, Mercedes-Benzes, 2 Land Rovers, and 2 Buckies. I don't have capacity for such. So, in Nkabinde, I spoke about Nkabinde and the case, Sinoville case 14605, which is the one relating to cars. Now, when they did not find any of those cars, inverted commas, corruptly obtained, the Mr. Duran's name that they are referring to is a dealer who has got no contract, no relationship with the police. Me and him were establishing a relationship. In actual fact, he wanted me to be doing business with him. I said, I can't. I can't be doing business now because I'm still employed. Now, at the same time, there were community projects that we were doing. I'll sponsor, for example, food parcels. There's even a house I built for Emuruti somewhere there in Kwamhlanga. And him hearing what I'm doing, he said, how can I contribute? So there were two cars, a Toyota Hilux, a Legend, and a Polo. Basically, those cars were not even sponsorships to me. They were sponsorship to the social, what do you call, for that social. But because I am taking responsibility, I'm to be funding the maintenance and fuel and even insure the cars when they are used. The agreement was for 18 months. And after 18 months, those vehicles went back to him and he disposed them. So those were the cars that I was dragged to court, myself, him, as well as my wife. And after 2-3 appearances, that case was struck off the roll. Having considered the allegations of Mr. McBride, I can state without any fear of contradiction that he has been less candid. Robert McBride is grandstanding, abusing his powers, including taking advantage of his position by deliberately withholding information or evidence that ought to have been placed before the authorities and in the public domain. That's exactly what I'm referring to. This information, they already had in their possession. He is using platforms created for our people to cleanse corruption in state institutions to the benefit of his self-serving gains. On 153 of my affidavit, a letter by IP dated 18 March 2016, signed by Khamayani in his capacity as the acting director, was received by my office at the time I was the acting National Commissioner of Police. The letter stated, IPID received a complaint from Paul O'Sullivan regarding allegations of tender irregularities and irregular appointments. Paragraph 3 states, you are requested to arrange a suitable date for investigators to meet with you to discuss these allegations. For ease of reference, I annex that as JKP 25 and JKP 26 for copies of the letters referred to in that paragraph. This letter addressed to me in my capacity as the acting National Commissioner of Subs indeed informed me about the complaint in writing. However, it did not disclose who the subject of the investigation was. Upon receipt of the letter, 9 May, I instructed my personal assistant to schedule a date for the requested meeting with IPID. An impression was created by McBride that counter investigations were embarked upon and there was no threat conducted that necessitated the appointment of a team to investigate any alleged unlawful activities detected through a threat assessment. McBride continued to attack my integrity and character, amongst others with the distortion of facts well known to him that I did not appoint a team from the Northwest to conduct the investigation against his ally, Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent. Chair, in this affidavit, I think you'll find JKP 28. That's General Mabula's affidavit. This is the affidavit that served before Judge Zondo, where he was testifying in this regard. And I'll refer to paragraph 8 of that annexure, if maybe you assist where in the bundle it is, but it's JKP 28. General Mabula in his affidavit say, during November 2016, as a result of suspicious conduct of Ms. Trent and Mr. O'Sullivan at a residential complex, Sable Hills, where Lieutenant General Phahlane, the then acting National Commissioner, resided, Division Crime Intelligence compiled a security threat assessment pertaining to the security threat against the security of Phahlane. As a result of the threat assessment, the then acting Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, Major General Mahele, communicated that, do we have a page? 509. This JKP 28 is on page 509. Communicated with Lieutenant General Motsunyane in a capacity as the Northwest Provincial Commissioner to provide intelligence, crime intelligence with the capacity to investigate the security threat against Phahlane. This is important. Crime intelligence are not doing investigations. Their task is to gather investigations. It is for this reason that General Machele approached the Provincial Commissioner of Northwest for a team of detectives to conduct an investigation. Mabula continues, I was nominated by Motsunyane to communicate with crime intelligence and was from then on the lead investigator. The investigation was conducted under the auspices of the Acting Divisional Commissioner, Crime Intelligence. I therefore state that my appointment to the investigation was lawful and rational. It was brought about by the unlawful conduct of individuals such as O'Sullivan and Trent, and I refer to hereafter. Council read in that presentation of IPID about the Mabula team. One of the allegations is that I appointed the Mabula team. There is evidence to that effect, which served even before Judge Zondo, that Mabula was appointed by General Machele following designation by the Provincial Commissioner of the Northwest Province. There is a part in this affidavit that I wanted to refer to, because I was hearing in testimony here people who deliberately forgot, but I'll find it. What happened, General Mabula, after receiving the tasking, after his preliminary investigations, he approached the DPP, Advocate Muzinyati in Pretoria, to table what he has found from the preliminary investigations. I just want to go there. Yes. It is that which I want to talk to is on page 519, paragraph 8. I mean, 8 at the bottom in General Mabula's affidavit. It says, my first port of call after receiving the security threat assessment briefing was to convene a meeting with the National Prosecuting Authority, the Director of Public Prosecution's Office, for the sole purpose of discussing whether the investigation relating to the threats against General Phahlane may not be construed as interference in IPID investigation. The team met Advocate Nemoarani and Advocate Andrea Johnson, and after relaying the facts of the earlier briefing of crime intelligence, they were unanimous in their decision that the investigation was lawful, and we were given the green light to proceed. Brigadier Ngube and the rest of the team then proceeded with the investigation. The team met with aforementioned advocates of the DPP on several occasions and kept them abreast of the investigations. After perusing the evidence, Advocate Nemoarani and Advocate Johnson advised that a criminal case docket be registered. A case docket was then registered under Kameldrift case 12/1/2017, impersonating an IPID official in contravention of the IPID Act and intimidation against Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent. Advocate Mashura was then appointed by Advocate Nemorani to oversee the investigation in the offices of the DPP. It is to be noted that the team only functioned on an ad hoc basis, not stationed in Pretoria, Gauteng, as claimed by McBride. Now, this is important. During this committee's honorable members' hearings, there is a point where, because I was following these proceedings, Advocate Andrea Johnson was asked about Camille Drift case 12/1/2017. She played ignorance, yet she is part of the team of prosecutors that were assigned by the DPP to investigate this. We do know that at some point she disappeared from this case. But I also do know that she emerged on the other side in as far as this investigation is concerned. I know even the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Batoyi, when asked, she did not know about this particular case. And this is the case that Cedric Nkabinde was saying it is gathering dust there in the NPA. And I think it was Honorable Malema who was asking, why, if O'Sullivan is doing all this, is there no case opened against him? I think at some point it's a crime against the state and so on. If you look at the docket, it's something too serious. There are over 80 emails that hopefully were shared with the members of the committee are part of that particular docket. These Section 70 recordings that I'm talking of, conversations with journalists and everyone, including where are you going, them formulating O'Sullivan drafting statements for people or applications for J50 or 205s. It's contained in there. So why that docket is being made to gather dust, I don't know. I know Council wants to talk to...
The case that you are making reference to is the case where Mr. O'Sullivan is alleged to have impersonated as an IPID official.
That's the case.
You want to take us through those details?
Yeah. In that docket, Honorable Chair.
Yeah. I want you to help us, and I don't know, Andile is here. Listen to these details, Andile, because remember last week in our meeting, okay, let me say to you, the committee has written to the respective authorities to request details of these cases. And they responded to us. You might have not seen the response that they sent to us, but if you can just give yourself time and give us the information that you have about those cases.
Thanks, Chair. In this case was informed by this security threat assessment, which was conducted by crime intelligence. And indeed, they did find that there is a threat. So the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, as I said, then requested detectives who could do the investigation. But she opted not to approach the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng or the Divisional Commissioner detectives, but approached the Provincial Commissioner of the Northwest for reasons known by them, so that, amongst others, they did not want to be told that these people in Pretoria, Gauteng, are privy to what has been happening. Therefore, they wanted a team coming from the Northwest. That's how General Mabula and the team, comprised of about 5 members, was appointed. I think the team was Brigadier Nuwe, Brigadier Khorane, Colonel Reddy and Lieutenant Colonel Daywood. So they did their investigation. And as I said, as part of the process, they approached the DPP and presented what they have found, their initial findings. That's where Advocate Muzinyati designated Advocate Nemoarani and Andrea Johnson to now lead the team, in other words, from prosecution side. And after they were presented with what they were presented, they had several meetings. I know one meeting, I was told it was at a courtyard hotel, where they were told, that is now the investigation team, that there is enough here that constitute a crime. Because amongst others, when O'Sullivan and them were at my place, they wanted the building plans, but at that time, there was no case opened against me. They wanted the building plans, and I know when they went to the security.
There is a terrible feedback. I don't know if our sound engineers are able to deal with it. Yeah. Or you can also try the next
one.
microphone.
Maybe, is it better? Okay. So that's how that case was opened. But when they were at my place in the estate, strangely, they went to the security. And O'Sullivan wanted to know the following. What cars and how many of them are my protectors and me driving? 2, they wanted to know how many are they, what caliber of weapons do they carry, and the times movement. What time do we come? What time do we leave? What time do we return?
When you are still there, how does he find himself in the mix? What was his role?
He's an honorary IPID member. Kabinde told you here that he's the boss. McBride reports to you.
Who was he with when they came to you?
When they came to my house,
Yeah.
it was Paul O'Sullivan, Sergeant Trent, an IPID investigator who is currently...
So they were with a recognized IPID official?
Yes,
But without them being IPID officials?
Yes, they were in O'Sullivan's private car, O'Sullivan being the driver, the passenger being Sergeant Trent on the, we call him a crew in police. So the passenger on the front seat was here, and the 2 IPID guys, the late Mandla Mashangu, and the one who is now at IDAC, the Manivina, were in that car. So those were the 4 people that were in that car that came to my estate.
So in that, the 5 occupants of the car, 3 of them were recognized government officials?
Only 2, the Manivina and the late Mandla Mashangu. Sergeant Trent works for O'Sullivan, or worked for O'Sullivan, what is it, Forensic for Justice or something like that. They are together, they are private people. He's actually, if I'm not wrong, an advocate who works there.
No, okay.
Sorry, an attorney.
Just a moment, can I check with honorable members if there is any who may want to take a bite? I see Honorable Ngola.
Just a quick one, Chair. to what in the statement is referred to the Paul O'Sullivan entourage. So are you saying one of the then recognized IPID officials is currently in the employ of IDAC?
It's correct. That's why I support General Mkonazi when he's talking about the rogue unit within IDAC.
Chair,
Mati Binang is a member currently, as we speak. Of
Chair,
IDAC.
can I move that the committee be finished with the name of the said individual? Thank you.
The witness hears you. What is the name of that
Imani Binang,
the man?
Temane, and the surname is Binang, Binang.
Vinang.
Binang. I think it's Motswana.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Ramano will also capture that for the work of the Justice Committee as well. Thank you.
Honorable Matthys.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just that whether the builder and the security personnel that were approached by Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Trent and the crew, will they be agreeable to provide us with affidavits to support what it is that you are saying? They don't necessarily have to appear before us, but to support what it is that you're saying. Thanks.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Matthys, they have already provided affidavits. If you go to, there's an affidavit here of Brigadier Ngube, JKP 27. Maybe I can just be assisted because it's easier. My annexes are marked 484.
But besides someone in SAPS, we're talking about those that were in your property. Do you have any, because I didn't see any supporting affidavits from the security personnel at your complex and also when they were engaging about the building plans?
Yes, Chair, that's what I'm referring to when I'm referring you to JKP 27.
But you said it's Brigadier.
Because,
okay.
No, if I want to go to a page where the affidavits that they have provided, which are part of the case docket, are there. They are quoted, I think, in the JKP 484, page 484. Ne? There is here witness 1, what the witness said, witness 2. So I'm simply saying while they are not named, their affidavits are already in place in that case docket 12/1/2017. There is witness 1, 2, where is, for example, 1 say here, he deposed an affidavit under oath that members who were all alleged to be from IPID by one of them produced a business card, not an appointment certificate. Normally, when you are an officer and you are asked for your identification, you can't produce a business card. You must produce an appointment certificate, not your DOMPAS or ID, appointment certificate. 486, 496. Yeah, in page 496 of the affidavit, there it is. And then witness 2, he deposed an affidavit that he met with the persons driving the Ford Kuga at the main gate and escorted them to the offices of witness 1. He was then requested to take them to the house. This is now the security manager, Freki, that we are referring to. Witness 3, he deposed to an affidavit that he stopped the Ford Kuga at the service delivery entrance and was informed by the driver, Mandla. This is referring to the IPID official, Mr. Mandla Kaisoma, that they were from subs and demanded entry into the estate. They did not even say they are from IPID. This is the person who was the security guard who was manning the boom. 4, he deposed an affidavit confirming that the registration number belongs to O'Sullivan, and even the affidavit of my driver is in here. And by the way, these affidavits are of my driver when he was approached by O'Sullivan were drafted by O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent for him as if they were IPID members and they were expected to just sign. Nkawinde testified here that O'Sullivan had access to letterheads and they will draft affidavits for them and so on. So just to conclude, the Chair, that
So these are the events of 2016.
these are the events of 2016.
And who was the IPID head at the time?
McBride.
Okay.
Because this team, as I said, he went back to office after his suspension, the 18th of October 2016. It was on the same day that he took off the people that were tasked with investigating the O'Sullivan, and then immediately the Phahlane task team was established.
Can you say it again?
Sorry, Chair?
Just repeat the statement that you made. You said when he got into office, remember there was this Camille Thrift case that has been registered.
Yeah.
And then you say that the people who were investigating it were taken off.
The people who were investigating the allegations made by O'Sullivan in IPID were then removed by McBride. And then following that removal, that's when he appointed the famous Phahlane task team. Now, if we talk about the Camille Drift case that we were referring to earlier, it's the case docket that was registered by the team of subs detectives led by General Mabula.